everyone. I love the full house at the last session. That's how you know it's real. So we're so excited for this final session before our cocktail hour. And we saved one of the best for last. So this session, Beyond the Brush, the Future of Nail Art, is a panel of incredible, talented women, and we're so excited to have them here. So I'm going to pass it off to our moderator, Asia Bloodworth.
Hello everyone, my name is Asia. I am the moderator for this wonderful panel discussion, Beyond the Brush, Future of Nail Art. My nickname is Asia Bird for those of you guys who are just coming in. I am a podcaster, illustrator, nail artist from the DMV area. You know, is there anybody from the DMV area? All right, that's what's up. So I want to go ahead and really introduce our four panelists for this wonderful panel discussion. Here with me is Rita Pinto from Vanity Projects, Alexandra Pauly from High Snobiety, Angie of She's Polished New York, and Alani Noelle, aka What's Good. Give them all a round of applause. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and kick things off by the very first question. So as far as technology has grown so much. Technology has really grown, especially within the nail industry. So my question to you all is, anyone can start with this question. In what ways do you think technology will influence the future of the nail and beauty industry?
Kick things off. I think that technology is really going to open the door to a lot of opportunities for hyper-personalization, which we've seen in a lot of other beauty sectors like hair care, makeup, skincare. So for example, you have these brands releasing these amazing devices that can like custom mix a foundation shade, for example. I can definitely see a future in which, you go to a nail salon or, you're doing your own nails at home and you want like that perfect nude color and you scan your hand and you get like a custom shade match. I think that could be a really exciting opportunity. I think it's definitely something I can imagine in the future.
Yeah, so really cool. Anybody want to add anything else?
You can hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
So to piggyback off what she was saying, I didn't even think of that, but they already have that machine where you can just put your finger in and it'll just put the art on your finger. Mm-hmm. I'm a little afraid of it. I haven't quite adapted to that yet. But I see that we're always rushing. We're always moving. We're like a people that the world is just going. So people are going to get out faster, and technology is going to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to add, I think, to bring it more simple. I think, especially after the pandemic, we saw how technology was able to sort of recreate the nail industry because everybody's just on social media, and it gave people, I think, the inspiration to want to do bigger and better nails. I don't think we've ever seen nail art before the way that we've been seeing it lately. And I do think that that's a big, Instagram is a big reason for that, and all social media platforms. So that's how I would say technology has played into it.
Well, to piggyback off that, technology's always led the way. It's nothing new. I think so. When car paint was invented, so was nail enamel. So in history, we can see how technology is always going with the nail trends or bringing new opportunities to the nail artists or technologists that are using. So, for example, when Chrome came into the marketplace, that catastrophically changed the nail community and what we could do, right? So moving on from that, liquid and LMP, all of these things came into, when they were doing sort of dentures and, with a dentist. So, essentially, the technology does go hand in hand. I think in the future, you mentioned the machines that do the natural, you stick your fingers in. But I have a problem with those because it's, not every nail bed is the same. And there's ridges and there's, like weird parts and things happen when you get older as well, you know, so it's not like just like a blank canvas sticking in there. And there's one thing missing is the people. So as you know, it's like nails help the mind. So, you know, it's all about your mental health. So how is a machine supposed to kiki it up with you about your boyfriend or, you know, what happened last night at the club or whatever, you know? So I have no faith in that particular device taking over the nail industry.
No,
We will
agree.
always crave to hold each other's hands.
You know, nail, I always say as nail techs, we're therapists. I do nails, I do art, but I also conduct therapy sessions. Because women and men come to the seat and they feel comfortable. It's a one-on-one, it's private, right? This is where it's judgment, there's no judgment there. You cry, I cry, we hug it out, you get amazing nail art, and we leave.
Yeah.
That machine can't do it. So
No,
that's why I
absolutely.
haven't adapted to that. I haven't adapted to the whole AI thing of the, you know, I can't get with it.
I mean, I don't know how
human
AI is
interaction.
going to help you do nails, like, but I think that like really exciting products could help you do really cool things. Let's say like 3D printers could like amplify your work. We're about to welcome to our salon a Japanese artist called Tomoya, and he basically is kind of one of the top nail artists in Japan using 3D printers right now to make nails and nail extensions and wild things extending on the extensions. So there's boundless creativity that comes with a 3D printer. Now, how does that 3D printer come into a space that you can work that's cheap, you know, pret-a-porter, like a, you know what I mean? How can you bring that into the nail salon? So that's essentially where, you know, maybe technology will improve, where it become like not so special to find a 3D printer, maybe something like at home or something like that, or like in salon, you know. But I definitely think like there has to be more things like chrome or things that come into the market that we then all play with and learn from.
Yeah, there's such a whole array of technology, especially you have AI, you have Midjourney, you have ChatGPT, and you know, definitely how you mentioned the Japanese nail artist who does the 3D printing of the nails. So technology has played a significant role as far as the nail industry, like UV lamps have become more advanced and you know, different products have become more advanced. And the whole thing, one of the things concerned about AI, even though AI is going to grow, and you can use AI for good, you know. Like, AI is kind of scary a little bit, but you know, but definitely AI will never replace human creativity. It will never replace it. I think human creativity is the most authentic form of creativity. So definitely technology has really came a long way, definitely within the AR, VR, augmented reality, where certain brands are collaborating with augmented reality as far as doing like nail polishes, like filters on Snapchat. So definitely there's a Web3 NFT aspect to things as well. So I want to go ahead and push forward and talk about as far as the pandemic. So in the nail industry, we saw many changes happen during the pandemic. Since people weren't going into salons, things like press-on nails and DIY nail art exploded. A lot of nail art at home. What trends can you name that has continued into this present day or may have even become a permanent part of the nail industry?
Chrome. Chrome. Because at home, it's easy to do, right?
Yeah.
It's the base, the chrome bond,
Right.
the chrome.
Yeah.
If you can't do anything else, you could do a chrome, right?
Mhm.
That is, at least on my timeline, during the pandemic, I've seen a lot of that. I've also seen the semi-cured gel stickers, that,
Yeah.
because it's easy to do at home as well. I know I didn't take any clients during the pandemic because I went out to work. Like, my shop was closed for 6-7 months, but a lot of my clients came back, like, they learned how to do a prey on themselves,
Right.
you know, to get longevity, and I applaud that. That is not always an easy thing to do.
Right.
I don't agree.
Okay.
A prey.
Because I've had clients calling desperate, like, I bought a drill. Please don't use that, ma'am.
I wouldn't say the drill.
You
that's
know,
why I said a prey.
don't go rogue. You know,
I
where
wouldn't say use the drill because that's something that
You
you
can
can
hurt
actually
yourself.
have to teach. Someone needs to teach you how to use the drill. But an appraise system doesn't come with a drill. It's the light and the colors. Now, I know I have clients that actually bought the kit and were doing appraise themselves. I was like, okay, you still need a manicure, but I get it. You know, people were in the mode of trying to be creative. We're stuck in the house. I still want to look good, right?
but without contact dermatitis.
I mean, those are that's the science behind it. But during the pandemic, no one really thought about that. They didn't care. They just wanted to get their nails done, right? And I'm not mad at it, right? You're stuck in the house for 6 months. You can't leave. You still want to be cute. So you tried everything that you could buy on Amazon, every sticker, every stud, every diamond, and you put it on yourself. I'm not mad at that. I applaud that creativity. So I think that, I'm not saying that the appraise was done properly, but I applaud that you tried, right? You tried to still be cute during a time where it was ugly.
I think that's fair, but I definitely think there's a place for professionals.
Oh, absolutely.
And I really think there's a hobby and then there's a professional. And when you're using professional products, you need to know about the chemistry and
Absolutely.
any things that you're using that can cause damage to your
Well, they
skin.
came back when we opened. They definitely listen, I had clients that brought me all their appraised stuff. Like, hey, I don't need it anymore. You're open. You can just do it on me. Right. I'm like, no, thank you. But, they had to keep it together.
No, the vibe was right.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where the education comes into play, because definitely it's very important to educate up and coming new nail techs and nail artists.
Absolutely.
Also people that are, nail influencers about how to use these different products, because, like how you said during the pandemic, people weren't paying attention about the health, precautions as far as, using gel or braid gelics or whatever it is. They're saying, yo, I want to look cute, I want to look fly, I want to put on these nails, and that's that. But I think the educational aspect of things is very, very important. Being sure to educate your clients, people who want to get into the industry, about how to use them properly, especially for professional use. So I'm glad that some brands are saying, hey, these products are for professional use only. So definitely spreading awareness about the health of the products is very important.
I think also during the pandemic, without access to professionals like both of you, I think people started to really realize, the value of the time and the effort, not just the technical skill, but, the emotional connection that you get from actually going to see a nail tech. Like both of you said, you guys kind of double as therapists. So I think going forward, and ultimately, it is a good thing, but I think people are really more willing to, pay nail techs what they're worth for the amazing service that they provide.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that. I think that education really, it's something that we turned to in the pandemic, as and I think that it's something that continues now, where let's say you're already an amazing tech or you have basic skills and you just want to amplify those skills. And so I think that the education really is something that continues in the press-on business, like you mentioned, Nicki Minaj entering the marketplace and all these other nail influencers who are using them. So both those things I think are central.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to push forward and talk about one thing we see in the evolving in the nail industry is how nail art has become more genderless and how gender fluidity plays itself out in nails and fashion. With this emerging desire for individualism and free expression, I love your nails, what's good? They're very, very flat, very, very cool. I want to shout you out as far as your nails real quick. With this emerging desire for individualism and free expression, in your perspective, has, and if so, how has this affected the industry and service providers? So with this emerging desire for individualism and free expression, in your opinion, has, and if so, how has this affected the industry and service providers?
So the pandemic for me, I think, as I sort of jumped the gun a bit earlier, the biggest thing for me out of the pandemic was press-on nails, and I think with the press-on nails, especially nail artists discovered this whole new world of doing nail art that wasn't functional, because obviously if I have an actual Acrylic like set, there are just things that I cannot wear, like no matter how much I want to. So like I remember my nail tech during the pandemic, she sent me the wildest set. Like it literally had like dangling chains, pearls, and like these huge like characters on them. And it's something that I literally would have never been able to wear like day to day. And I'm like a very interesting client. Like I'm always like, fuck it, like let's do it. Like let's do like the wildest shit. And my nail tech is like, girl, like you can't do that. So I think like that was a beautiful moment that came out of the pandemic. Just like nail techs being able to like create businesses and create press-ons, and like for the consumer, you know, there are a lot of people who are like, yo, like I can't really wear a certain length or a certain style to work, but it's like on the weekend you can buy that press-on nail. Like press-on nails that didn't exist before the pandemic the way that they do now in terms of like the creativity, and like it's very different. So I think with that goes into like expression, and even like the gender fluidity aspect that we're talking about. I think Little Yachty, A$AP Rocky are like the first people that I think of men-wise. Trinidad James, a big one, who kind of like introduced that style of it being a gender fluid thing, and not being like this is for girls and this is for boys. So yeah, I think the pandemic played a huge part in just like the creativity and like it being boundless and you being able to do whatever.
I mean, Harry Styles came out with his own brand, Pleasing, and it's like polish, right? But they make the best hand cream on planet Earth, literally. So people like Harry Styles, and you mentioned Little Yachty, you know, we did the concrete campaign with them when he was doing them in Miami, and I was always really interested to see, like, okay, let me see this pen thing that you're working with to do the nails. And I thought, like, why are you opening a polish business? Like, you know, gel is taken over. Like, there's no longevity to polish, you know? And especially when you do nail art, especially when you charge for nail art, you don't want it to chip, or you don't want to fix it because it's too expensive to fix a polished manicure, and you don't necessarily know what your client did to contribute to the chip, right? But the point is that with the LGBTQ community, we have like basically taken what was before a female-centric business, and it's now completely open to every black, brown, purple, pink, and purple, you know? So that's what I love about it. It's like we just gained a whole new marketplace and a whole new sort of generation of people who want to get their nails done. So it sort of amplifies what you're earning in the salon when you're taking male clients or trans clients or any kind, you know?
I agree. You asked of the effects of it. It was great. Who wants to turn away a client? Bring them all. You want to paint your dogs' nails? Sure. Bring them. Right? Like, you know, it's, you know, basketball players have been doing this too for a while. They also paint their toes. I think Shaq just had an interview. He pays $1,000 for a pedicure.
Yeah, we reposted that. It was legit.
$1,000 for a pedicure because he has ugly feet. So he feels like the polish makes him look a little cuter, right?
I also won a game or something, like with the polish, so now it became like.
From then on, he just never stopped wearing toe polish. And I'm like, that works for you?
I want him as our client. I want a tip on 1,000.
I absolutely sent that video to my agent. Absolutely, but I think it's great.
I love that. I was like, tell your friends.
Listen, $1,000, I'm coming. Whatever color you want me to bring, I'm on the way.
At 6 a.m. or at 10. But that's like a weird thing too. I have to just add that is that like, you know, when we did the A$AP Rocky's nails, it was really fun, and I was like, yay, cool, you know. But he had to take like blunt breaks. So we charged him for the downtime. Not my problem.
It's your time.
And I wasn't getting high, so like, sorry, bro. Neither was my nail tech, so, but it's fun. I mean, I joke, but, we love doing men's nails, and I'm super excited about the opportunity to, like, that business to grow, and more in, like, more hetero directions. I think that's also really cool, too. And we have a lot of trans clients in the salon, and I just really love them. There's this one in particular that just goes off. Her name's, like, Dolly. Hello Dolly or something like that on Instagram. She's legit.
I had one, Amara Jones. Amara had been with me for years before she transitioned. When she transitioned, the nails just became crazier. And what I would say is about the nail world, it is the most free world. There's no racism, there's no colorism. It is how fly your nails look.
That's right.
I make hand contact before I make eye contact. And I also make
Period.
shoe contact because I'm a sneaker person, so I'm gonna look at your feet too. I'm not judging, but I am looking, right? And that's what I love about what I do. I get to be free. I get to do what I want to do. I'm also a bit of a nail bully, so my clients just let me do what I want to do, which works for both of us. Everyone leaves happy, and we're fine. But it is the one place where everybody wins if it's done right.
I mean, it's also where clients come to vent, which is slightly problematic, in my opinion. It's like, take your problems out on your nail artist day. But, we have a policy where we have no bitch policy in the salon.
Anything you want to add, Alexandra?
I feel like in the early 2020s, there was this moment where like every single male celebrity came out with nail polish line, and I feel like it was great in terms of opening the conversation and getting people to realize that, yeah, of course, like you don't need to be a woman to be able to do your nails. I think now brands, we've kind of evolved past the need for that, and I think brands are really focusing more on, the quality of their product rather than relying on, kind of gendered marketing.
I agree 100% because Little Yachty left the room. He didn't, he exited stage left. He wasn't committed. This is a lifelong commitment. Like, I think we're all in the same emotion when we, I don't think you're gonna all of a sudden tomorrow stop doing your nails. I think I'd probably be worried for you. So, I mean, if we're in this for life, you gotta commit. And, some people have entered the marketplace and maybe they didn't see the margins, And I always tell people, this is not the industry to get in if you're wanting to look at margins, because my margins suck. And, we're still alive and we're doing the thing. But, I mean, I don't have investors knocking on my door because, the margin is so slim. We use the best products. We pay the best girls. And those girls get paid a lot of money. I mean, my artists are making $120,000 a year. So they're real careers, so.
It's not a hobby. I mean, you can make it a hobby.
You can make it a hobby.
You're right. You have to be invested. You can't, and this is really quick, not to jump ahead, but to be a nail tech, you got to take it serious because it takes a lot of hand-eye coordination to do that. It's not all, the art is amazing. That's the icing on the cake. But if your foundation is not right, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You're not gaining clients just because you know how to do art. If it's not going to stay on, what is the point of it?
Absolutely.
We wasted time. You need the foundation, as you said before,
Yeah,
the
proper
science
prep.
behind it. You need to know what it's really going to be. I don't want a lot of nice art if I have polish on my skin. I don't want that. I don't want it if my nails are going to chip the next day. I don't want cheap products. You got to know products. You have to spend endless hours researching products. What products, and you're going to run through a lot of products that don't work for you.
I mean, an airbrush, to riff on that, airbrush is a technique that requires, let's say, the little gummy thing that you put it on around the nail to protect the natural nails. Well, I've seen people do airbrush and like I'm looking down, I'm like, what, the cuticles are all covered in gel. Like, that's not cute. Like, you gotta keep it clean, you know? So I think, you know, to do it is one thing, to do it well is another thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I love the point that you pointed out, Angie, because foundation is very, very important. Like people say, it's like building a house. You know, if the foundation of the house ain't right, it's gonna fall apart. You know what I'm saying? So definitely with any nail service, the foundation is very, very important. That's what helps it last long. If the foundation's not right, it's not gonna last as long. So it's not always the nail artist is actually, it's not always the product, but it's the nail artist not prepping your nails properly. So the nail artist or nail tech have to prep your nails properly for it to stay on very long. You know, the well of how good of the prep is, the longer the nail art will stay, or the nail service will stay for a couple weeks to a month. So definitely the foundation is very, very important. So I want to move on to the next question. So this is for you, Rita, and Angie, but anyone can answer this question. So let's talk about the relationship between the artists, salons, product manufacturers, and retailers. So in the past, as artists, we find ourselves at the beck and call of supply chains to utilize whatever tools big company manufacturers create for nail artists to use, even considering they may not be nail artists themselves. Since the pandemic, more nail artists are starting to create their own gel paints and tools from a nail art creator point of view. Do you think this trend will continue, or will the big global manufacturing companies control the lion's share of what happens or what comes out from the nail industry?
First of all, I'm excited. Like, I am elated of where we are in the nail game right now, because the manufacturers are a big machine, right? There's no creativity behind that. I actually have a problem that these major companies are putting things out, but I don't know if they actually hire nail techs to help put these products out. Because you can say, I have an idea, I want to put this out. Well, who do you test it with, right? Like for example, nail brushes, right? Some companies have horrible nail brushes. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Right? No thought was put into that. It's not the shape of the nail, it's not curved to the cuticle area, right? So it's hard for you to get that neat polish. Unless you're really good at what you do, it's hard for you to get that neat polish, right? In the very early years of my career, when I opened up my first salon, I used to train my girls using neon, the neon green color, because it was the hardest thing to, paint without streaks. Right? It was like, in nail school, they tell you to take the test, you gotta do red, you gotta paint with red. Now, if you gotta polish with red, right, and the brush is horrible, I feel bad for you at the state board. If you just got to school, because you go to school, but you really get your chops up in the real world. Nail school, you just need a license, right? You go there for a license, but your chops are outside. So these manufacturing companies, I don't know if they use nail techs.
Right.
And so I'm happy to see companies like Nails by Deb, who has her own art line, right? I buy all that. I support that. Because you know as a nail tech what I need, right? You know what I need. You know the viscosity of the art gel that I need so that it doesn't move when I'm painting or when I'm drawing lines, or we know what we need. So since the pandemic, and maybe a little before, nail techs were working on this, I was amazed and excited because finally I felt like somebody was speaking our language.
So I think this has been going on for kind of a long time. So Young Nails, for example, always works hand in hand with technology to build their products. What Asia was referring to when she said international really stuck to me because so let's talk about Nails by Deb, right? She operates in a regional market. So in the United States, we know about Nails by Deb, but outside of the U.S., her name is pretty much unknown. Let's say in like Korea, Japan, et cetera, right? So these international brands it's like a local market, and then there's like an international market, and so. My feeling is that these brands that are doing regional like sponsorships, let's say like Nail Thoughts and Cocoist, you know, that's a great collaboration because, like you said, she's bringing her expertise to the table, right, and her color palette, etc. But Presto has been doing this with Brittany Tokyo and Nail Swag since way before the pandemic. And in Japan, all of the manufacturers use nail artists and nail technicians to make troubleshoot their products. But it's like the difference between, let's say a Korean nail tech is amazing, and this is amazing. Let's say she uses D-gel. We don't know about that here, you know? And so, like, how's D-gel supposed to sell gel in the United States when they're using a Korean nail tech, you know? So I think it's just all regional. I don't think that you can say, like, that international brands are really going to be putting their finance in. Let's say, for example, like, I looked into, like, making a product, like, so it's like, if you want to do, you have to do like 50,000 units of one color, right? So you got to commit to these colors, right? So, and then likewise, like, I know a lot of techs who have decided, like, after they have a baby, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be a mom. I want to, you know, I want to get into makeup, or I want to do something else. And then what happens to the brand? You know, they've invested all this time, money, energy, product, resource to your line, and then, you know, so like the commitment level has to be there too, you know.
You have to be committed to this world. I mean, if I was a nail tech and decided I didn't want to do this anymore, I didn't want to do hand to hand, right, anymore, I think that would be the smartest thing for you, was just be focused on the manufacturing side of things, because you're not so exhausted focusing on the client. Right. You are, I mean, it's your business, you're going to put in more work.
Right, but then who's paying for it? Like, who's paying for the R&D, who's doing the chemistry, who's doing the, you know, like...
It's a big machine when you're dealing with manufacturers. So if you could partner with a company, that would be amazing. If that happens, I mean, I would love a partnership with a brand, right? So I would love, like, I have 100 ideas in my head, right? Will that happen? Who knows? So kudos to those nail techs, those artists who are able to get in the door and actually make their, you know, grow the company. Because like you said, the margins are horrible.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not easy work. So, I mean, I don't know if it's a right or wrong answer to that question.
I mean, I think Brittany Tokyo and Nail Swag did it on an international level and were quite successful at it, I think, because for the Japanese, let's say, they were bringing colors to the marketplace that were like bright and bold, and like, you know, like, don't use this red. I mean, red is the hardest color actually to make in gel. So, like, you know, they were like, we want to make the best red, you know? So I think with that particular collab with Presto, I think they did really well internationally. And that requires them going on tour. And like, for example, Brittany's in Japan going to like, you know, the seminars and the conferences and stuff like that. So you got to work it, you know? So let's say it's very expensive for them. Like, let's say like, they're going to a nail conference. We all know, like, Javits, right? It costs between like $50,000 plus for any of those brands to be there. So, you know, that's a lot of money, you know? And so it's like really interesting to see like these collaborations happen, but then understanding that there's a machine behind it that, you know, can either propel it or, you know, it's not as easy as just having a collab, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now, last but not least, in terms of the questions, if you had one thing you want the audience to take away from this event, what would it be?
I can't pick one thing, because I think that every bit of what we talk about is important. To be in the nail game, you need to, do not try to run before you crawl. Do not skip a step, because it will show in your work and it will show in your client retention. Do not skip the foundation. Do not run to do nail art. You know, take your time. It is, we live in a world of YouTube and everything is microwaved. Everything has to be fast. We're missing, you know, and social media will have you think that you are failing in life. And it's easy to compare yourself to other nail techs or other people, you know, in any industry that you're in. And you feel like you're not, like I'm missing something. You're not. Stay in your lane, stay focused. You have to stay laser focused because you trying to keep up with the Joneses will have you broke in this nail industry. You will not have client retention. You have to stay faithful to the art and like Rita said, the commitment. You have to be committed to this. If you're not committed to this, it's just not gonna work. It's just a hobby.
I mean, to add to that, I definitely think that education is like where you can always continue to grow. You know, let's say you got the basics down, but your nails are good. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to commit to the education and not be above it. You have to have no ego. And that's the problem, is that, let's say, Instagram has created this false sense of ego. And realistically, like, you know, you can't just and be Kanai. You gotta be like, she's been doing nails for 15 years. She went to school, she went to the geeky school that like cool nail techs wanted to go to because it was so hard. And she thrived in that space, you know, and that's why she's the artistic director of our school with a visa and everything, you know. So, you know, I think that commitment is definitely 100%. And education, and never thinking that you're better than someone else, you know? Because even Kanai, you know, she's learning every day too, and always improving on her skills and learning new techniques from the other artists in our salon and from our clients, just even the dialogue, you know?
Listen, I would say I have been doing nails since I was 13 years old, and there was no YouTube at that time. I'm aging myself. But it's okay because I feel like I look good for my age, so it's fine, right? That's 27 plus years of doing nails. I started with pedicures, right? I started taking out ingrown nails. I wasn't afraid to do nails anywhere. I did nails outside on the block. I did nails in the basement of my boyfriend's house. I have some of my clients here since
Yeah, don't knock the hustle.
Right, and I've had plenty of jobs. I was a social worker. I have worked for Adidas. I've worked a lot, but I never stopped doing nails because it was something I could always go back to. I felt comfortable with, but we didn't have classes. We didn't have that. I didn't know who to turn to for nails, right? So you just have to try something, right? See, feel at it, do it again. I went to nail school. I got to nail school, and my teacher was like, "You've done this before?" I'm like, "I'm gonna be honest. I'm just here to get a license." Because I knew that my real teaching was going to be outside with people, right? People who allow me to fail, who allow me to make mistakes, because this is not easy. It's not till now, and I'm still learning new things as I go. I still take classes. I still reach out to other nail techs like, "Hey, how did you do this?" I'm willing to pay for that. You have to be able to invest in your education because it's not a Google thing anymore. This is like hand to hand. How did she get here? How do we build on that? I get a lot of questions about where'd you get your charms or how did you do this? And I'm happy to answer all those questions. I can tell you, but me showing you or anyone showing you is the best teacher. You gotta be able to make time to learn.
Yeah, and then I think that's the problem is like removing the ego from it and understanding that you always have to learn. And so the takeaway I think from here today is that we have an amazing community. We have a lot of passion in the room and a lot of people who love nails, which is, you know, central. And education, hopefully everyone signs up for VPI. I definitely think it's like, you know, really a great product, and hopefully everyone will come to our courses in the salon because I think in person is also a different thing. But you know, I think this back and forth, this you need the mentor. You need someone to low key tell you like, hey girl, like your line work's not great, you know, and like, you know, to be told that by somebody else, it's delicate, you know, like. It's like not about your feelings, it's just about the work, right? And I mean, your client is gonna eat you alive.
I
Right? Exactly. No, because they have no filter, and they'll just like bark at you about something, you know. I even your own friends. Like I have a girlfriend that got her nails done the other day, and I was joking to the text, and I was like, "So these nails got to be really good because she's going to Hong Kong. She's going to find me some investment money." So she comes out of the salon. Sends me the nails. She's like, "I don't think that you're going to get any investment money." This is like a friend of mine. I was like, low key, I wasn't looking for it, but just wanted you to get the VIP treatment. But, you know, criticism is hard, and, you know, you just got to take it, and you got to, like, you know, do better and learn from it, and like I said, like, leave the ego at the door.
Okay, we're gonna evolve into some quick Q&A just for timing, if that's all right. So, because I know you had a couple questions, and we'll kind of give it out to the crowd as well.
Yeah, I just want to kick off the Q&A for you all by directing some questions to Alani and Alexandra. So, from Alexandra first, can you give us some insight from, as a beauty editor, like, you know, we've been hearing all about the nail industry from the OG nail techs and teachers and instructors, so now it's like, from a beauty editor standpoint, how do trends even come across your desk? How do you determine trends? How do you speak on them? Do they come from the nail techs first? Like, what are you studying when it comes to even reporting the trends with nail art? And then how can the artists here in the room kind of apply some of those same tactics to as they develop their art?
Yeah, totally. I think there's always going to be a crossover between fashion trends and nail art trends. Obviously, there's such a strong relationship between fashion and beauty. There always has been. So, you know, for example, this year when we saw, you know, the rise of like coquette fashion, all the bows, the frills, everyone, you know, on TikTok was gluing bows to their nails and, you know, doing bow nail art and all the hyper feminine nail art designs. So I think if you kind of want to stay ahead of the curve, I think it's always valuable to kind of pay attention to what's going on in fashion, because I think there's always going to be a relationship between the clothes that we're wearing and what we're putting on our nails.
Yeah, and then for Alani, I think we would all don you as a trendsetter and leader in the fashion. So, can you give us some insight as to how you consider yourself or how you approach that session as a creator? Like, are you an artist? Are you a creator? Like, who are you when you're at the station or the desk or the table with your nail artist?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I do get this question a lot. I think, so the first thing that I will say, the relationship, I talk with my hands so much, it's not on purpose, I swear. The relationship that I have with my nail tech, first and foremost, completely plays into that. We have been together, I talk about her like that's my girlfriend, but I think it's been like 5 years. What year are we in? I want to say like 5 at the very least. And from the very beginning, like I would always come in with some sort of idea, I wanted something. I do get a little bit anal sometimes. I'll come in with like mood boards and like drawings, and I'm like, I want this on that nail and this on that nail. But much to what Alexandra was saying, a lot of my inspo has derived from like what I was wearing, like a shoe that was coming out that I really loved. Even honestly, like furniture is a really big one for me. And I've noticed that whatever's on my nails at the time typically reflects like what I'm really into. When I started designing my home, like all of my nail sets were inspired by rugs and architecture and the 70s and vibrancy. So I don't know, like it's so big, but very much like the way that I get dressed, like my nails speak for me before I have to. Like I don't have to say anything and you'll probably know, like, okay, like this girl is a little out there. But like I love it like that, and and that's just how I approach it. Just like whatever I love, and I just throw it on my nails.
Any other questions?
In terms of talking about nail trends and the role that social media plays, this is a question that's been like on my mind. If Instagram were to like shut down or like become like a pay-to-play kind of situation, how do you think that would impact the trend?
I think that it would shut down basically a lot of business and a lot of like shared resources, right? Like so, but you know, I think there was fashion magazines before there was Instagram, and you know, thankfully we all have thankfully the fashion industry is still doing like runway, and I think like that's always a place where you're going to see, like, for example, when we get calls from editors about trends, we're like, okay, what do we see? Well, we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know what the trends are going to be, and you never know what Hailey Bieber's going to wear next week. So like people like Hailey have been a significant like influencer in nails because, for example, like let's say she comes out with a donut nail, the phone's ringing right away. Everyone wants a donut nail. And now they want the chocolate donut nail. And now they want the cherry chocolate donut nail, you know, because they're just copying from whatever Hailey does. So there's that. But I think like when you're looking at the future trends and you like go in and you just search like spring summer 24 or you know fall winter 24 whatever, and you can like tell, she was saying like, you know, floral is going to be a huge, like, it's going to be huge in the fall, or green is having a comeback, or, you know, found materials, recycled, upcycling. So, and then you can just kind of extrapolate from that what you think, like, oh, that's going to be hot on nails. And then some things like mob wife aesthetic, you know. When I read a report that mob wife aesthetic had over 600 million or billion views, we started a mob wife special, you know? So now we do the mob wife special in the salon, and we're really leaning into that because we follow the trends and we create all our specials based off the trends, because we want our you know community to like have fun with it.
I want to add to this. Like, I think obviously Instagram is really important to just amplifying a person's work. However, I do think we're currently in a space where, again, like nail art right now is at a place that it's never been, where people are extremely like daring and they want more. And much like fashion, I think music, fashion, art, like everything kind of ties in together. And a lot of music artists have turned to nail art, and I mean, I'm not a nail tech, but what I have learned through friends and my own nail tech is like the relationships that they develop with their clients is the most important thing, and everything is word of mouth. It's almost like real estate in a sense, you know, like you're not necessarily, like real estate, for example, it's not a big thing on Instagram, but they're selling $1 million homes because they have clients and people who can speak for them. And I think that's where we are in nail art right now, where like, if Instagram were to shut down tomorrow, would it have a huge impact? Yes, but will it die? No. I think like rap, hip hop, fashion would keep it alive.
Hi. I have a question that relates to nail art. So when it comes to clients that know what they want, that's pretty easy. But when it comes to freestyling, I find it a little hard as a creative. Like, I know that I have a lot of inspiration up here, but I feel like I have roadblocks when it's actually to be put onto a nail. So how do you guys do it in terms of just like taking all what's up here and just like putting it out?
So I realized that, like you said, all my art is here. Clients don't know what I'm thinking. So what I usually start off with is, how are you feeling? Are you feeling dark? Are you feeling light? Are you want to go with the season? Are you depressed? Do we need to add color? I need to know what the client feels first. And then off that. Sometimes they'll give me an inspiration, or they're just like, whatever, go crazy. Usually it's go crazy because they want maximalist art. They want everything on the nail, and I'm cool with that. But if you're a nail tech who finds it difficult to come up with something, use Pinterest. Don't be afraid to use Pinterest. Don't be afraid to look at furniture. Something on furniture, you know, like you said, right? Those are the things that inspire you. Use your surroundings. You'll be surprised what comes on a nail, what you bring to life when you actually allow yourself to be creative. Don't stop yourself, right? And practice at home. Look up mood boards, create a mood board on Pinterest. Those things help. Like if you go to photo shoots, editorial, they send you a board. Like this is what we kind of like want, right? And you figure it out from there. Give yourself some grace. But absolutely, I would say go to Pinterest. You know, Instagram also. You see all these nail techs on Instagram and you feel like you can do this art, do it. But stick to where you're comfortable. Don't go crazy to things that you've never done before. If you've never done something, practice that first before you put it on a nail tech, on a client.
And I would add to that, like also, like I always tell the nail artists in their downtime, you know, make some sets, like practice on some tips, like showcase like some ideas that you have going on in your mind, like on your tips. So then, you know, or have like a little folder in your phone, you know, where you're like, okay, well, these are some ideas that I've been really wanting to try. Does anything hit, you know? And you'll be surprised that like it does translate. And I definitely think like the visual tool, I mean, a lot of artists in the salon have like their phones next to them and they're copying, you know, they're copying directly from, let's say, like a fabric. I mean, I'm looking at your outfit right now and I'm like, damn, those would be great nails, you know? And so things like that, you know, you just like, okay, I'm gonna take that little slice and I'm gonna put that on a nail, or I'm gonna take another little piece from the corner, I'm gonna put that in the nail. So I think you just have to conceptualize, like, and make the little drawings, like she was saying, like, you know, we have these clients too that come like they're on the right pinky. It's probably like the antithesis of what you want to do. But, you know, I think that a lot of clients know exactly what they want, but then it's nice when the tech's kind of like, okay, I want to try this, or like practice, you know, practice at home, do drawings, you know, figure out where on the nail you want to put, and you know, a color or a shape or whatever, you know. And Asia's the queen of that. Like she's actually, you should look at her page. She's amazing, and she's really good at like conceptualizing art on nails.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you all so much for being on the panel. I really enjoyed our discussion. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. That is a wrap. Take care. Stay safe. Have fun. And that's it.
Yes, and before you get up, I have